In this week's episode of my Working with Todoist series, I'm going to take you into the way that I manage my projects and my clients using Todoist and my notes. Now, the reason I'm doing this, because I have done a video similar to this in previous episodes, is because I've seen quite a few forums over the last few weeks discussing the best ways to manage projects and why they feel stressed out and overwhelmed. And that was very much the same kind of thinking that I was going through about a year ago, maybe just a little more than a year ago. And it's what ended up resulting in what I call my time sector system. Now, the problem I'm trying to fix here is people feeling overwhelmed, having way too many tasks inside Todoist so that so many tasks just disappear, or you end up with just an overwhelming list of today's tasks, neither of which are a nice place to find yourself. So what I want to do is to show you how I manage that, how I manage to keep my list lower using a few of Todoist's features, and hopefully it will spark a few ideas for you. Now, this might not work for everyone. I know it probably won't, but hopefully it will spark some ideas into you, into how you may be able to change your system so that your system works better for you. Okay, so before we go any further, I would just like to say, if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let me take you into my demo account now, and I'm going to show you how I manage projects and my client list. Okay, so here I am in my today's focus filter, and in here are my 10 tasks, or normally 10 tasks. This time it's actually 8 tasks that I'm going to focus on today, that I've decided are my most important tasks for the day. Now, if you look down at the bottom here, I've got 2 project tasks that I need to work on. So I've got one to continue building the chapter list for Time and Life Mastery book and check the YDL framework if it is ready to go. So let's just click on the first one. So as I come to this and I'm looking through my to-do list, say, right, what do I need to do next? I need to work on this. All I need to do is click on the actual task, and that's now going to take me directly to my OneNote. In this case, I'm using OneNote as an example just to show you what you can do with OneNote. It doesn't mean that I'm actually using OneNote in my real everyday life. I actually use Evernote. But here I have my chapter list. So I can now actually continue, and I can edit this in the browser by just clicking on that. And I can actually just go ahead and carry on working on this project. So all the details of this project are right here in OneNote, where I can actually work on it. All I need to do is to tell me what I need to work on. I'm not going to do the work inside Todoist, which is why I just think it's not a good idea to manage projects from within your Todoist, because if I check this task off now, it disappears. It's gone. I can't see it. Even if it was in a project view, I wouldn't be able to see it. So it's no good. It's not a useful tool to tell me what I've done or what I'm going to do in the future. However, over here, I can add lists, anything I want inside this. I can say, okay, today I can create a list. I'm going to edit this in the browser. I could just come down here and I can sort of put the date in. So I can put my today's date in, which, there we go. And I can say completed, chapter, if I spell, completed chapter 3. And I can continue. I can create a list like that as much as I like, as long as I like, inside the Notes app. So if I ever need to see what I've done and what I still need to do, a Notes app is just a far, far better place to see it. Let's go back here a bit, and let's say I've got another one here, which is to check the YDL framework. Is it ready to go? So I click on that, and again, it will take me to the note, and inside my Chrome, I should have, all being well, it's actually giving my projects to completed list. But I can go into my Your Digital Life here, or the YDL framework from up here, and I can actually just go into this, and I can just go, let's go from this one, and I can do my framework flowchart, and I can just check to see how this is looking. So this is looking fine. I've made a load of notes. I've used my iPad to make notes. I can add sheets in here. Immediately I can see where the project is. I can see what needs to happen next. And while we're in here, I've got my Time and Life Mastery book, as I showed you there. I've got my COD update course, which I could be working on, which is details of what's already in the course. All this is contained within the note. I do not need, this is never going to work in Todoist. It's never going to work in any to-do list manager. They're just not good places to manage projects from. And as I mentioned many times before, and I may not have shown you this is actually in the time sector course, but you can see from here that I've got a timeline, so that can tell me how long it's going to be done, what I need to be working on. I got like an outline of what needs to happen. I can see links to notes, links to the slide deck, the original slide deck. I can make some ideas about how I'm going to change the logos, the banners. All this can be put inside a note, which just isn't going to work inside a to-do list manager. But what I can do is I can use my to-do list manager to tell me what do I need to do next. So this is going to say, okay, today I need to check the YDL framework. So I can just go over to my notes over here. The YDL framework is here. I can go through that. Is it ready to go? That sort of thing. Now, one more area that this really works is if I go into my routine. So I've got let's say, because I've seen people mention this before, how do you manage your clients? And now I have about 35, 40 clients on the go at any one time. And just to create projects for my clients inside Todoist, it would be a nightmare. I wouldn't know what needs to happen next in a clear, simple view. So instead, what I've done is I have a client list, which if I click on this here, this will take me to my client list, which is a Google document. It's a sheet, actually. And what I have in here is, I can zoom out of this, by the way, if I just zoom out, because no, I'm not trying to do that. Got it, yes. I want to zoom out of this, which view. Let's go. There we go. We can zoom out of this. Let's just go into 75% so you can see. Now, these are obviously not my real clients, because my real clients are not James Bond characters from the movies. But this is how I do it. So I've got the email address, so I can quickly get in touch with a client. I've got the start date of their program. I've got the program they're on, the start date of their program, the end date, the last contact. So when did I last speak to them? And then I've got notes here that I may need to quickly access, and if I've actually chased them, because sometimes clients disappear and I just need to know what's going on. So this is a much better place. Now you can create whatever fields you want up here. And I've seen a few of my clients, some really, really incredibly productive people who never would dream of managing their clients inside Todoist. It just doesn't operate like that. Like to-do lists, whether it's Todoist or Remember the Milk or To-Do, they're designed, they're called task lists. They're lists of tasks to do. They're not project managers. And I think this is a big misunderstanding that people have. They think that to-do list managers are project managers. No, they are not. Project managers are way more complicated than a to-do list manager. And you want to be using the tools that you have available to you to be able to get into using those tools so that you have a much better way of managing that work. Now, this is where one of the things that Todoist I think is so powerful, is because you can just add the link. Now, this link is going to look horrendous, but I'm just going to click on that. So essentially what you do is the link is here. And by the way, this note will disappear immediately after I've recorded this. So you can click on this link as much as you like, but it's not going to be available. So you actually just copy the link and then you paste it into the task. And then you put a space bar. And then you open brackets and close brackets at the end, and that will give you what you've got right here, which is just a clickable link. And this to me is a far easier, much easier way of managing your work. Now, one other thing that I've done here, because something else that people have asked me about is, how do you manage all your projects list? Well, to me, that's really quite simple. I actually have a current projects list. Now, this is not my main account, but this is one that you've actually seen already. Again, it's a OneDrive. I've set this up. Oh, it's asking me to go in there. Let's go into this one here. I have a link to this particular note. And this note essentially is my Q2 and Q3 projects to be completed. So I can create a chart in here, and I can actually just cross them out when they've been completed. I can have a due date. I can see where a project is incredibly fast right from my Todoist by just connecting to the note. And now, as I mentioned before, I actually use Evernote for this, but I just wanted to show you how robust Todoist is. You don't have to use Evernote. You can use OneNote. You can use pretty much any note-taking application that allows you to connect online or gets a link to the note. The two most common ones would be Evernote and OneNote. So in this case, I'm just using OneNote as a demonstration. But you can see that you can actually add tables and charts. You can create whatever you want to manage the project list. So if your boss comes along and says to you, how's this project going? Just open up your notes and you can see immediately where a project is. And that's how you can get the most out of Todoist, which tells you what you need to do. And then you can move to that particular project, whether it's the project note, or it could be, as in the case of my client list, just a simple spreadsheet. I use numbers in my real world. I just created that one in Chrome so that you can actually see how you can just set one up, and you can make this as pretty and as beautiful as you want to make it. I've just made this a basic one, but you can make this stand out in many different ways. Maybe you need to see the program one. In fact, the actual one that I need to see more often is this one, this particular thing, and I can actually highlight this range. I can actually use the tools and I can make this a different color. There's all sorts of things that you can do just to make things stand out. So hopefully that gives you a really good overview of how to get the most out of Todoist and managing your projects. To-do list managers are not good project managers because they're not designed as project managers. And I know where a lot of this misunderstanding comes from. It's just a misunderstanding of the GTD book. If you actually look at GTD, for example, you don't manage things in GTD by projects. You manage things by context. That's people, place, or tool. So if you look at the folders in a GTD setup, it isn't by project. Your projects are kept in project folders and project support materials, which are outside of the to-do list. What you have inside your to-do list is the context. So it could be at work, at home, at the computer, at the calls. It could be your people that you work with. That's how you manage your work in GTD style. In the time sector system, you manage it by time. And that's why if you really cannot let go of managing projects inside a to-do list, then you really are going to find yourself missing tasks, you're going to lose tasks, you're going to miss deadlines, and you're going to build up a huge amount of overwhelm to a point where you end up having to declare task bankruptcy, and then you start all over again. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Unless you change your system so that it manages your work in a better way, you are just going to get the same overwhelm and stress. You need to look at that and you need to decide, well, is my to-do list manager the best place to manage my projects? Now, maybe that is the case for you. Maybe it's the type of work you do. Maybe it is. But just keep in mind, if you are struggling, if you really are finding it difficult to manage projects inside a to-do list, then look at alternative ways. There's many different ways out there, and this is just one of them, which is just managing your tasks in a much better way. Like a client list, to me, is far better managed through a spreadsheet. A projects list, a current projects list could also be done in a spreadsheet. I just keep it in a notes app because then I can add additional stuff underneath that I may need to remember. But it's entirely up to you. But just my feeling is when I'm working with people who are really struggling with stress and overwhelm, it's because they're trying to manage projects inside a to-do list and not thinking about how you can actually utilize all the other tools that are freely available. Google Docs, if you have a Gmail account, is freely available to you. Then you can actually build much better system that works better for you. Anyway, hopefully you forgive me for my rant. It's just something that I so want to help people to relieve their stress, just to get away from that overwhelm. And I just feel so strongly about it that sometimes it comes across as a rant. So I do apologize, but thank you very much for watching this video. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.